2 years ago, that wasn't the case. But now the reality is it's right around the corner. So all these little things, business is becoming it's more of a sport. You're going to have to be more efficient. You're going to have to create efficiencies all throughout your business, in your sales, in your marketing, in your operations. The topic today is about money. Okay, really simply, when you come in, you're looking to get 100K between now and the end of the year. Keep in mind something. I want you guys to think about something. When you're trying to track down and get another 100K by the end of the year, that's setting you up for next year. Most people right now are basically a lot of people are writing off the year. They're writing off the year and they're going to say, hey, I'm going to get started in January. Well, the reality is what most people know, that's right. What most people know is that if you wait till January, it just doesn't happen then anyway. So I'm a really big advocate for cranking it up. I want the business to get lean. I want the business to get mean. I want to make sure the pricing's right. I want to make sure my head count's right. I want to make sure every single thing is right in the business so when the season comes or when abundance comes, I can capitalize on it. You know, a lot of different things that we do. It doesn't matter whether you're looking to train a dog, you're looking to get physically fit. There's specific ways that you go about it. But being an entrepreneur and running a business, oddly enough, entrepreneurs like to believe that that's not the case. They leave a lot of things up to the universe and to luck. They look at certain things. They look at one dimension of the business. They don't look at everything. You know, so I like to look at the business as a whole and basically just suck the money out of it. So that's what we're going to do. We're talking about, listen, we're not talking about marketing, mindset, or motivation. We're talking about money, okay? Either which way, no matter how, and that's why I put these slides together for you guys so you can see them to kind of help me put on track to make sure I give you the value for what it is. But I want you to think about money that you're earning, losing, or leaving on the table, right? Which one is it? The goal today is to uncover cash hiding in your business before year end. So I'm going to be very transparent and honest with you. Just so you know, a lot of people feel awkward about this, but almost all entrepreneurs and all business owners, even private equity, sometimes they drift off. Unless you have a refined machine running your business, checking everything on a weekly basis, weekly, quarterly, monthly, annually, going through and tighten those bolts, looking to optimize it, just like an athlete that's looking to compete in the Olympics, then chances are you have opportunity. So let's dive into that. So you don't have a revenue problem, you got a leakage problem. You know, you don't have a customer base problem. You have to optimize what's in front of you. Every business has silent profit leaks in it. Every single business. I was reading the jobs report today. It shows you the jobs that are going to be gone within 10 years. So what I like to do when I look at data like that, it's like almost 300 pages. It's almost a book. I haven't read the whole thing yet. I'm going to read the whole thing, study it. But I saw some of the highlights when I was recapping it and going through it, and they talk about the jobs that are going to be gone. What jobs are going to be gone 10 years from now? So if you reverse engineer that, that's telling you what jobs AI or robotics is most likely, AI, robotics, autonomous vehicles, all these things, which ones are the most forecasted things that are already working in business. See, they're already working. Like a lot of times when having call centers, I have call centers right now that are ran offshore. In the past, that was the gold standard. Well, in the future, now that's all going to be, 85% of that's going to be done by AI. So the offshore cost that was low, it's going to be even further reduced by AI. You're going to look at a lot of your administrative tasks, your secretarial tasks. All these things are going to be disrupted by AI. So this isn't an AI pitch. This is not that. It's telling you that there's solutions right now that are working in the marketplace. That's another conversation as well. But I just want to open your mind up to all these things. There's solutions in the marketplace that are working right now today. We're looking at all of them all the time for all our companies. 2 years ago, that wasn't the case. But now the reality is it's right around the corner. So all these little things, business is becoming more of a sport. You're going to have to be more efficient. You're going to have to create efficiencies all throughout your business, in your sales, in your marketing, in your operations, in your pricing. I want you to think about that and back into those things when you're looking at your business. What expenses do you have in your business that could basically either you could scale to 3 times with adding AI and you couldn't do it, or you basically could eliminate positions altogether. And I just want to plant that. We're going to go into other things, but I can assure you right now that you have a lot of, revenue versus non-revenue employees, depending on what your size and scale is. How many revenue employees do you have? How many non-revenue producing? What's that ratio that you have between them? Do you know what it's supposed to be? You want to aim for 70 to 30. You can only have so much support staff in a business without having people that produce revenue. I think that's probably one of the things. You get a lot of people in the business, they think they are contributing and they are important. And they are there, but make no mistake about it, the people that run business are revenue producers. The whole team supports revenue coming in. Without revenue coming in, there is no business. And if that revenue comes in and the business isn't structured correctly with the right expense structure, the right profit margins, the right repeat referral and retention mechanisms, the right upsells, then you're not going to be able to optimize it. In some cases, it won't be sustainable. I see so many business owners that I deal with, and they're 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the same thing. And at best case scenario, and they don't take action, and they think that something's going to change. You're going to have to throw, and I'm framing this because one of the core pillars and philosophies that I offer is mindset. So I spent a great deal of time trying to convince you and make you aware of what's in the marketplace so that you actually know, so that you can take the actions that you need to take to reap the rewards that you deserve, right? You deserve these. Entrepreneurs, leaders, the bold, courageous people that do these things, you deserve to reap the rewards of it. But not if you only go 80% there. The magic is in the last mile. You have to do the last piece of work that gets you across the top. So I want you to think about that. Work that adds no value. And some of this is poor leadership and or poor team building and not understanding, but it can be fixed with these conversations. What is being, and if your team's 3 or your team's 30, all because you're not doing it, every time you put burden on your team, every single time, that's why you have extra teammates that aren't revenue producers. A lot of times we think we need 2, 3, or 4 administrative people, and the fact is you don't. Because if you don't burden them down with work that doesn't matter, they have more capacity for work that does matter. But I want you to understand something. In business, it's very simple. It raises top line revenue and increases your net income. Otherwise, it's just a story. It's just an emotion. It's not reality. That's how I keep score. And that's how successful entrepreneurs keep score. Now, there's other things you can look at to get there, but it's all about raising top line revenue and increasing net profit. So if you're not doing that, then you have to really start questioning, is this really adding value to the business? So that's one of the things. Rework, we'll talk about that. Fixing avoidable errors. This is a training thing. Do you have people that use equipment? Do you have people that use equipment in your office? Are they currently using equipment? They're not trained on anything. Could be software you have, any type of processes or systems that you have, poor customer service, poor client fulfillment, whatever the case may be. How many times do you have to go back and do it? And that's why we get here to the mistakes. That's the poor training, the unclear processes. Listen, business is last minute. Anybody that tells you that, we need a team that's agile. We need a team that can hustle. We need a team that we can throw the ball and they can be sitting down eating lunch and they can jump up in the air and catch it. These are the teams that win in the game of business. It's just the way it is. Teams need to be dynamic. They need to be agile. And they have to want to win. But at the same point in time, we have to make sure that we train them properly. We have to make sure that we have clear processes that reduce mistakes. And we have to reduce rushing where it's highly sensitive. And one of these things, going back to monitoring that, as we start tightening down these other little clamps, we'll get to the fun part in a little bit. But that's the thing. When you go and start looking at these things, that's what it is. So and the oversight is misleads, lost follow-ups, unmonitored metrics. Cash is king. Cash flow is queen. Put them together, you have a kingdom. That's the truth. So if you come in and you want to raise your sales and you don't know, and you're not managing your leads, you're not managing your follow-up, you're not managing your conversion, and then going back to coaching and training on it, you're just never going to see those profits. And I see a lot of times, like, yes, we want the automations and the emails and everything like that. But you know what else we want? We want a human that's actually interested in the business and growing the revenue. Because remember something, you're not going to be able just to hire somebody to take you through the painful part of business. I think that's probably the biggest misconception that people have. They think, yes, we want one good hire. We want one good hire. Yes, you want one good hire. Yes, I need virtual assistants and all that's going away. AI is already doing it. That whole idea of hiring somebody in another country all the time, that in return I supplement to do work, with having to manage somebody remotely. It's lateral moves. AI is wiping that stuff out. So the reality is the speed for everything and the growth that you can get is far much faster than what you would have gotten before. Protect your margin like your life depends on it. Discounting. If your team's anywhere, managing discounts, let me show you what managing discounts is. What managing discounts is pulling up a ticket or whatever the case may be every single time and looking at the discounts per employee. If you look and you realize you have a big opportunity with discounts and you manage it per employee, you can see which employees or departments are giving the bigger discounts. And when you can do that, you can go open up the tickets and ask why, because you can begin to benchmark it. You get a baseline. If you start looking at that number, you'll know when you're looking at your 13-week trend, something we'll talk about briefly here that we're going to talk about in a couple weeks. But when you come in and you start looking at that, there'll be indicators that tell you right away what's going on in your business. So undercharging, fear-based pricing. This right here is one of the biggest ones. I know guys that are multi-millionaires that went in and sold their time to help somebody out, and they underpriced their time. And just because they just don't even know what the market bears. Well, what's the good or service worth? You have to know, are you providing a premium good or service? Or are you providing a discount? So that's the variance there. If you're selling the same product as everybody else, then that's one thing, but is that true? Are you going in? Are you providing a premium product? So if you're providing a premium product, good or service, you can add, and that could be just customer service. If you treat me really well and I come to your place of business, I can pay you more money because I'm paying for the experience. That doesn't mean every customer is going to pay you more money for a good experience, because some people don't really care. But that means that your customers, if you're providing a premium service, your customers are willing to pay you. Your customers are those people that appreciate that. If you're providing a premium service and you actually have a discount product to discount customers, well, then you need to strip that product down. You need to strip that product down. You need to come up with a base price product that costs less to service, to build, to manufacture, whatever it is, and you need to strip it down. And you need to satisfy that customer, but you need to know which customer you have. You can feed both of them, but the problem is if you're right in the middle, you're providing the value and you're not getting the money, that's where the money is. I can tell you right now, this is the biggest, I have yet to come across one entrepreneur ever, that if they sit down with an open mind and they're actually looking to grow their business versus to stay within their own current limiting belief system. Like if you look at entrepreneurs where their businesses are growing or want to grow, and the founder, owner, CEO, whatever, is actively looking to grow, every single one of them have opportunities in pricing. Because if you look at it in the market we've been in for the last 5 years, almost 5 years, inflation's been so crazy and things been moving so fast that pricing is just nonstop moving. So if you haven't looked at pricing in the last 3 months, you got an opportunity. You can look at it now, look at it in 3 months later. As fast as you increase the price, it's time to increase it again. So operational drag, once again, this is a really big thing here. How do I go in and make it easier on myself and or on my team? If you have a $25,000 payroll every month and you're 10% high, and here's the other thing. You have to go ahead and look at, the inefficiency could be having people that aren't working neither that you're paying them. You have to manage that piece of it as well. If you have people that are not producing, not contributing, and how do you quantify that? How do you manage that? A price increase can mean 50% profit increase. If you have, depending on the price of what you sell and what it is, it can dramatically, and the thing is, it's a riddle, right? It's a mathematical equation. It's very basic to go in and to figure it out. If you look at your business and you ask yourself, what would it be for me? What would the difference be? What would the game changer be if I went in and I raised my prices? So here's what I would suggest to you guys about prices. You hear me talk about this a lot, those of you that see me. I would do 3 quotes. I would find 3 people. I'd find the 3 best people, and I would see where they're priced at. And I would look at the whole entire good, service, offer, time, everything, and I would make sure I was doing an apples to apples comparison. If you can't at least do that, you don't deserve to get the higher profits. See, remember something. Business is a lot of work. It rewards those who do the work. So I think one of the biggest misconceptions, you see a lot of these things out there like 4-hour work week and this and all these other things, and people talk about work-life balance. Absolutely work-life balance. But when it comes to business, you got to show up looking to win, like you're fighting to win the Super Bowl. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it's your life. So repackage offers to show value tiers. And that's what we're talking about, stripping down those offers. How do you strip them down? James is on the call. I think we talked about him last week. He just happens to be on the call. We literally went in and that's what it was. We took the existing offers that he had, changed them, put them on a menu, and then boom, his business is bringing in $7,500 more a week. That's literally what happened. It was nothing else. All he did was change the pricing structure, the pricing structure and the offer. He analyzed the offer. He was basically right there in one of those situations where he was right in the middle. And all he did was he had a stripped down version, then he upsold the nicer version a little bit more. People picked the nicer one. Revenue was up $7,500. But also what happened was they took time off the table. They took time off the table because those people that were buying the offer that they were getting it before, now his technicians are able to do the work in less time. So he also took time back off the table. So now he has more capacity in the business to where he can go out and he can go get another $7,500 a week without hiring an additional person. So that's the type of things that really happen in business when you play it right. So train your team to sell value, not discounts. And here's the other thing. Here's the big takeaway. This is what I would write down if you guys. When's the last time you trained your team? When's the last time you went in, you have a structured script that you want to go, this is what I want them to say to the customers. This is how I want them to do it. And you actually sat down with them and trained them. Because that's just the big thing. If you do that, you'll begin to see efficiencies. If you train your team, if you look at your pricing, shop your competitors, see what they're charging, train your team, make sure it's written out, and then hold the line. Make sure it gets done. And then obviously review your pricing quarterly. Right now, we're getting ready for 2026. If you wait until January to start 2026, you're literally starting out 30 days behind. Because even if you bring your best game and you show up with dry January and all these other things that you can do in order to accelerate, and you start working out at the gym and you're doing all these things, you're starting out behind. You could already have momentum. So let's go ahead and make sure we're designing to get massive momentum right now into 26. So here's the thing that we're going to talk about here for a second, and we'll go through here, is sales per head. Whatever gets measured improves. It's just the way it is. If whatever you want to grow in your business, first of all, you need to have a 13-week trend board. You need a 13-week trend board. You need an operating system in your business. You need to be able to have a meeting every week and talk about it. That's probably one of the easiest, lowest hanging fruits that people do and just don't do. And everybody resists in the culture until somebody goes ahead and says, you know what, we're going to see this through. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to show up the same time, same place every week, 52 weeks in a row, have a meeting, communicate the data. And then that data is going to show you in that trend board what's on track and what's off track, and then you're going to know what to train for. So follow me real quick. You have a 13-week trend board with your KPIs and your metrics. You have a meeting with that every week. That's what you do. You have a meeting, same time, same place every week. And then you look at, it's color-coded, so it's green and red. Green means you're good to go. You're on track. Yellow means you're off track. Right? So you go ahead, you see something yellow, if you're the leader, or if you have leaders, or whoever the person is, you come up with the plan of what it takes to get it back to green. That's how you do it. And that way you have a structured plan every week going in, and more importantly, you can add double the sales to your business, and it's actually easier to run than it is right now if you're not doing these things. That's how I do it. That's how I run multiple companies that I never even go into other than for a meeting. Sometime depending on the need, where it's at, because businesses have turbulence. Businesses can run for 5 years really good. And sometimes, management teams, you have turnover, things happen. But it's important that you have a framework that you know how to pick the pieces of the puzzle back up and go back in and execute. That doesn't mean you'll never experience turbulence in a lifetime of business, because you most certainly will. But what you will have is you'll have the skill, you have the superpower of being able to go into your business and pick the pieces to the puzzle back up and go in and do it. It's like one of those things we talked about. So we are having a mastermind here. This is a private mastermind. It's a private mastermind, annual mastermind. We're getting ready to have it here this weekend. But this is my mastermind that I host with the people that are in my community that are coming in here, that we do life together, and we're growing businesses together. But even as that said, I'm having mine, and then the next day I'm leaving and going to another peer group, even though I'll have some of my team in this meeting here. But for specific things, I have my team going to another group so that we can go refine those KPIs, those metrics on the trend board, and so that we can teach good decision making. And we can also look at training, what training's working, what training's not working. That's another big thing. What training is working right now in the business? Where's the conversions coming from? So we'll work on those things. So all these things right here are time tested. For those of you who haven't been exposed to some of this stuff, it's time tested. And these are exact business principles. This is no different than somebody says, hey, this is how you build a model airplane. This is how you get a six-pack. There's your diet, nutrition, your workout, your supplements, your hormones, whatever the hell else you need. But it's an exact formula. And I say that and I harp on that because so many people, I talk to so many entrepreneurs and they just have never given it their all in business. They got a good business and they're making money and they're successful and things are good and they're doing well and they're happy enough, but they never gave it their all. So when they see things like this, as soon as they see them, it's a little bit of a foreign language and they get scared and they never achieve their potential. They always think it's not going to work for them. No, it works for everybody. It works for those that take action. It works for those that take action. And I know what it's like. I never did, but for me, myself personally, I'm so grateful for the fact that I got over that hump at a young age. Because it was something I would have never been able to share or do the things that I'm doing today without it. On track versus off track, right? So we talked about the trend board. I got ahead of myself a little bit. That's what I like to do. For those of you that know me, so that's why it's very important to go ahead and stay on track with it. But the 13-week trend board will show wins and losses. So here's the thing. That's what you want to do. You want to take a 13-week trend board, show your wins and losses, turn emotion into visibility and accountability, right? Empower your team. Weekly rhythm keeps teams proactive, not reactive, and you got to ask yourself, what's on track, what's off track? That's essentially what we do with the Catalyst operating system. It exposes leaks and fixes them fast. The dashboards create focus and alignment. A weekly cadence drives accountability, and it converts chaos into consistent cash flow. That's ultimately the name of the game. That's what everybody wants as an entrepreneur. And that's exactly how you get it. So it's achievable for all of you, no matter where you're at. Now, if you don't have a trend board, or you're not used to looking at your metrics, or you don't know what it is, you're going to have to dig a little bit harder. You have to assign ownership and a deadline. Look at some training. I mean, listen, there's ChatGPT. There's so many things right now. You could pick any sales trainer in the world right now, go on ChatGPT, and have them give you a phone-up script for your business if you had to do that. You could literally get that script. Now, would that be optimum? No, because you don't necessarily know the science or the conversions behind that. So you might miss a little bit there. But is it better than doing nothing? Absolutely. So estimate the profit impact. When you look at it, looking at your pricing, and that could be it. You could be wasting, if your pricing hasn't been reviewed in 12 months, you're losing there. Track it for 13 weeks, communicate it, and then let it improve. So here's the thing. Operators create profit. Amateurs chase it. So you got to be able to roll up your sleeves, go in and get it. Scaling, adding chaos, and removing friction. Systems make money predictable. When you're just hustling, waking up every day, seeing which way the wind blows, it does not. Build the rhythm, right? Trust the data, and profit follows.